Hey guys, how's it going? Andrew from Cowboy for Game here. Just giving you an update on my current version of Nekroz. You may have seen us playing this on some of Ben Nolan's videos for Wollongong Locals and a few other things like this. This is a blind second variant that I have been testing and playing a lot online with. I've found it to be the best way to play Nekroz. I've played different variants of it before. I've played it with Vanity's Ruler, with Christia, with a few different options, but I found going blind second seems to be the best way, and you mainly rely on power cards like your evenly matched here, mainly in your super polys to kind of get you there. And I've been trying it with Nibiru, which is a little bit out of the ordinary. So in the profile itself, we've got two Nibiru. Not a lot to be said there. There's still a lot of decks that spam out monsters, though. I am genuinely considering dropping these, and I'll probably drop them for double Lightning Storm. Because the meta seems to have shifted to a lot more control-heavy decks, and even though Evenly is very good, sometimes you obviously don't see it, and I just found lately Nibiru is a lot more dead than it used to be, especially since post-ban list. So then we've got two of each of the main incantations, so search your monsters, search your spells, add your monsters back from grave. Drop the one bookstone that I used to run from a while back. I am strongly considering putting it back in for two reasons. One, it just seems to come up a little bit, even with preparation, that I still need to get the spells back from time to time. And the second more important thing is that Altergeist is becoming very prominent in the meta. Some of them are maining villager spellcasters, and that's often your only out. So other than that, so we've got three Manju, just generic searching. One Sure it's back to three, but it honestly clogs it any more than one. I tried it at two for a while, and it's just unnecessary. You just have the resources that you just don't need it, and seeing two is really bad. So the Nekroz themselves, so one decisive armor. This comes up a huge amount. I really don't agree with anyone who doesn't run it, but you know, each to their own. But the attack comes up as soon as anything's over 2-9. You otherwise can't out it unless you have decisive armor. So that's a big thing for increasing the attack, or even if you just summon it itself, it's huge. Force out back row, I think is fantastic. Trish at 1 is fine. It comes up from time to time, not having the second one to use as the anti-target, but it's fine. Like, you play 2 and you see 2 and it's just terrible. Valk, same thing. You use either effect. You either stop the battle phase, or you tribute and tribute some of the incantations off free draws, whatever the situation is. 3 Charles Slime is always correct. You really want to see this card. It unbricks every hand. 3 Bria, no need to explain that. 1 Unicorn, because we can only run one. Biggest thing is if this ever came back to 3, I'm not sure we'd run it at 3, because you see 2 or more in a hand, that could still be very bricky. I don't know, guess we'll cross that bridge if it ever comes to it. Double Clauseless seems to be the perfect ratio. You don't want, one, you don't see it enough, because you really want to see this with any incantation, because it's, if you see this guy or this guy, it sets them off having Clauseless, or if you see Candle, then you just ditch that, search a spell, and then it's live again, so it's always good. 3 Extrav, hate to say it, it really will make the deck playable. You just got 3 Pot of Greed, the deck really just doesn't care. Doesn't really care at all, just draws 2. Been trying out Avarice. Avarice is fantastic. You just don't want to open it, but it's so good to see in the mid game. The deck is very playable without Avarice, but I've found it really, really good so far. Occasionally you open at 1, but if your other cards are good, that's fine. You save it for later and have a blowout turn where you stack all your resources back and keep drawing. 3 Prep, nothing needs to be said there. This is, I strongly believe this is always the correct ratio of the spells at the moment. So 1 Mirror, 1 Kaleidoscope, 1 Inception, and double Cycle. You will use Cycle quite a lot more, even without the Vanity's Emptiness and the Vanity's Ruler and the Benton and whatnot. You still use Cycle a hell of a lot, especially when you can loop your Shrit. Then double Super Poly. Originally had it at 3, but I found you just never need to see it that much, because you really just need to see this, or this, and then you can usually push through boards very easy. And then triple Evenly. This is the absolute best card in your deck, because you always want to go second. So you do that, you destroy the whole board, or at least bait out a very strong negate, but chances are you want to clear the board, leave them one thing, and preferably you really want to Trishula afterwards. So usually they'll have one thing, at least one thing in the grave, 1 in hand, 1 on field. If you can Trish at that point, you've usually deprived most of them of just about every resource they can get, but it's going to depend on the matchup. Current extra deck. So most of this bit here is all for Super Poly, except Entis, that is for Kaleidoscope. So I've got one Violet Chimera just for salad. It's okay if you see it, it's okay if you don't, I guess. Like if it gets extraved, that's fine. You're only going to burst so much salad. If you burst salad, you know, try and hold this for the Super Poly if you can, but obviously you just play it by ear. 3 Starving Venom. Once again, this is just for extravs, just so you're statistically unlikely to hit all 3. So you can still extrav and then Super Poly later on if you draw it later. Obviously, if you draw both, you want to use your Super Poly in standby or draw phase so that you can still use Extravagance at the start of main phase. We got 1 Dragster or however you pronounce this thing. Comes up a lot, especially when you need to Super Poly your own Super Poly target away with the second one. And then there's just other stuff where it comes up against like Invoked and other situations. It's okay. Double Entus, just to try and keep 1 after Extrav. Comes up a few games. Most of the times you just Herald though. Triple Mud Dragon, this card is probably the best Super Poly target, not because of what he does, but it's because of the very wide application. So against, for example, decks you wouldn't normally consider Super Poly for, but ones like Subterra, for example, they're all Earth, but they're all different types. So use Super Poly their stuff into Mud Dragon, even if they've got a Fiendus in hand, that's now just like a dead Fiendus pretty much. And yeah, it works really, really well. Triple Herald. Literally, you'll only usually do this once in a duel, but it's just so you can extrav and you've got a very minuscule chance of hitting all 3. If you do hit all 3, what do you do? And then double Abyss Dweller. Now you can always, once again, same thing, you just want to make sure 1 survives. You can play around with any of these ratios though. Like I don't mind having Tornado Dragon in there, and I don't mind having Exciton Knight in there. So you could drop any one of these to 2 and play around with it like that, really. Much of a muchness. But chances are between Super Poly and your Extravagances, at the end of a grindy game, you're going to have almost none of this extra deck left, and you really don't need a summon from there at all. So sides I'm playing at the moment, 3 Sphere is for Spiral matchup, because the Nibiru's are useless against that, and once again, it's the reason I'm considering dropping them, they just don't do anything anymore. Christia and Double Vanities, that is mainly for when I know I'm going to get forced to go first, because there is quite a few decks in this current meta which are decent at going second and will fight you to go second. Triple Lancia, I might drop this to 2 or maybe drop it all together. Like the idea is it's there for Orcust and whatnot, but obviously the prominence of Orcust has dropped significantly, so... Triple Droll, once again more for Spiral and a few other decks that are kind of doing that. The unlikely mirror match perhaps, but not really. Benton, which is part of the Christia package, that probably should be over there, and double Call Buyer. So, you know, that's it for now. Like I'm going to keep tinkering with it, but so far I've had a lot of success online with this. Decent amount of success locals. I don't think it's finished yet. For me, definitely the side and the extra deck need a little bit of tweaking. I've just got to find out the right things, but I believe the main is pretty solid. Apart from, I would be putting in 2 Lightning Storm instead of Nibiru. Alrighty, thanks for watching. If you want to keep watching, I might do a combo video just after this. Not a combo, sorry, a few games here online. If not, thank you for watching the profile. Peace out.